Now, I'm sure that a lot of you guys know that Warzone's like here, Cold War's like here in terms of my enjoyment level. I've mentioned this a bunch since launch, and it's probably evidenced by the gameplay that we use in the background of videos. And I think really it just comes down to the sort of what I dub the infinite warfare effect by comparison, where it's not necessarily so much that I don't like the game fundamentally, it's just that it's so similar to the game previous, all the way down to the smaller things like the UI and menu design, that it just feels like an extension or a larger DLC for that prior game, as opposed to a brand new experience that I'm grinding out entirely. But going back, doing a little bit of Dark Aether, and then also doing some prep work here for Season 1's final update as of next week, it dawned on me that even though it wasn't my cup of tea here per se for this year, it's done something that not many others, if any other Call of Duty has done at all. Today, I want to talk about the quantity in terms of grindable paths and grindable content that we have within Cold War, what they entail, and then also letting you know my thoughts here on it, because for as many as there are, they might not all be that worth it, but we'll get to that in a second. We're getting ahead of ourselves. But let me know your thoughts down below as we go along here. Any of these that I may have missed in terms of the grind, anything that you guys really like out of these that we have here this year, whatever it is, feel free to let me know. But as well, if you are new to the channel, do be sure that subscribe button. We're on that road to 400,000 subscribers, and we'll keep you up to date with all things Cold War, Warzone, and anything COD related. So if you're interested in joining the community, I'd love to have you. But that said, let's jump into it. When we think about Call of Duty, every single year there seems to be one overall grind per se, and a various different number of locations of the game. For Cold War, there actually are the most grind-worthy paths here that you can see in a recent COD title. Some coming close to Cold War, but with the introduction of the seasonal system here, offering up some more completionist items to the mix, it gives that numerical leg up on other games that we've seen in the past. Perhaps I'm missing one or two here, which would strengthen the position even further, but you have 7 main grinds this year for Cold War if you choose to embark on them. Those being Dark Matter or DM Ultra for multiplayer camo progression, Dark Aether for zombies camo progression, Dark Ops challenges, 100%er challenge completion, Master Prestige and the additional level 1000 grind every single season, may I add, seasonal challenges, and the Master Prestige emblem and calling card collections. So you definitely have a lot to do if you do enjoy Cold War. When it comes to your Dark Matter challenges, I'll be honest, I think for the most part, most of the challenges are actually relatively easier than years previous. I mean, apart from your things like your point blank kills, which basically require to put your barrel down your enemy's throat, and of course your launcher challenges are absolutely the worst because you consider things like Flak Jacket and Hardcore can protect up to 3 times if those shots are in a certain proximity. I mean, those are absolute pain, but the challenges themselves are relatively uniform and, for the most part, actually have a lot lower thresholds for your regular challenges, say like regular eliminations and such, so it may not be a pain as compared to other max camos that you've seen in the past. If it wasn't for that feeling of exhausting matchmaking this year, I think that I'd genuinely go for both Dark Aether and DM Ultra, just for something to do on the game. As much as Modern Warfare MP did annoy me, it genuinely gave me a purpose to play the game and grind out Damascus last year. So I kind of just wish that I enjoyed the multiplayer experience a little more to do that again. But Dark Aether's that similar, but also way more chill grind if you ask me. Not only do I like the camo better, and it's totally cool if you feel DM Ultra is better, it's just my preference. This is what I've been going towards passively in my free time when I decide to jump onto Cold War. But the beauty of this grind is that yes, it does take time, and yes, it gives me purpose to jump on the game, but at the same time, I'm not actively punishing myself while trying to play through the matchmaking of MP. Fundamentally, I don't mind Cold War's MP. I like the classic arcade feel of the gunplay and all, but like I said, the matchmaking is just exhausting. I don't know what it is, truthfully, because I'm pretty sure it's the same system as last year, but it's just so tiresome to play, I think, having dealt with it for another year, coming back to it again, and often in a solo capacity, and having to practically compete to stay in matches. But aside from somewhat complaining, the grind will afford you a few days minimum of playtime in-game to complete, because the most efficient way that I've found it solo requires you to play about 2 matches per weapon after you've reached relatively level 40-ish on the weapon, going to about round 36 and relatively 31 respectively per game, and you'll end up getting Golden Viper by the time you reach level 51 or 52 on the weapon, each taking about an hour to an hour and a half, totaling about 2.5 hours for 29 base weapons. That's about 72.5 hours of game time, or just over 3 days of playtime in zombies. So again, it's a long time for sure, but it's definitely something you can just chill out, talk with your friends on Discord, or have a beer with. So it keeps you playing and it keeps you coming back, but it's not painful. 100%er and Dark Ops challenges are actually kind of weird this year because every year since, I believe, Black Ops 3, in terms of a Black Ops game, we have seen that you have the ability to get 100%er calling card, specific completionist rewards for completing all your main challenges within, say, multiplayer or zombies. And while you can still get that coveted 100% that shows up on your challenge tab for your career and battle hardened, this time around, it actually doesn't afford you a 100%er calling card, which is kind of strange, but where it's even stranger is that it kind of flip-flops with Dark Ops, where if you want to go after and grind out those Dark Ops challenges, you actually get a Dark Ops Master Challenge calling card for completing all of those across the board for all 3 main modes of Campaign, MP, and Zombies. So kind of weird that we ended up seeing them flip-flopped here in terms of the overall completionist rewards, but again, something to bring you back if you like to do that stuff. Master Prestige and the additional level 1000 grind every single season is an interesting one, because while in theory to increase player retention, the seasonal resets is definitely something that on paper would bring players back. With Modern Warfare, it also kind of trapped players because you could only go to 155, and oftentimes you'd complete that within, say, the first week of the season if you were a grinder. But while trying to keep that integration alive here for Modern Warfare and Cold War via Warzone and everything in between, I do think that Cold War probably made the best of a bad situation. As much as I'd love to just return to the traditional prestige system, I also don't think that this is too terrible. It gives you something to grind out if you are somebody that likes to play the game and you're ever consistently adding to your rank, but also it keeps that house of cards from collapsing in terms of a rank system across 3 games. But with level 1000, you definitely can see who the grinders are, and it gives you some recognition of either if you're doing it or what to expect if you're going up against somebody that is there. And finally, when we talk about it, seasonal challenges, of course, returning, this time in a little bit different of a fashion compared to last year's 100 challenges that go along with it. This time around offering, in terms of quantity, a little bit less than 100 because there are some that are multi-tiered in terms of the challenge completion, but there are also ones that are still singular in nature where it's one challenge and you get the calling card. If you're somebody that likes completion, if you're somebody that wants to be a master of the season, this gives you something to go for and grind out. Same thing also within the Master Prestige emblem and calling card collection. Within each season, if you end up completing level 200, you then enter Master Prestige and have access to the Prestige shop in which you can get calling cards or custom Prestige icons, with more likely being added each season, but of course requiring you to have a certain amount of keys to unlock specific ones. So it does offer that long-term play of, hey, I could grind out the game a little bit to get this specific item if I want to, but it's also something that doesn't limit you because there are so many different options. You can choose what you want. Now, overall, while Cold War does offer up numerically the most grind-worthy items and sort of paths to grinding than any other Call of Duty as of recent years, and potentially even in the entire franchise, my final thoughts really are that I just kind of wish I enjoyed the experience of playing where a lot of this is focused of, say, MP, because that's where a lot of these cool grinds take place. I wish I enjoyed MP more this year compared to what I actually do. And again, like I said, fundamentally, a lot of what Cold War has is fine. It just misses the mark with me this year for some reason. I also wish that the end game rewards were a little bit better as well for some of these grinds. The only tangible things that you can really see out of these grinds are the camos of Dark Matter and Dark Aether. I mean, yeah, you can get things like your prestige icons or calling cards, but when you're playing a first-person game, the biggest thing to me in terms of customization is always what's in your hands. The weapon itself and the camo on that weapon. I will always be a camo guy within Call of Duty above anything else when it comes to customization. So when you take a look at some of these rewards, a lot of them don't really truly reward you because you won't see them 24/7. If I could get legacy items like camos in Cold War via prestige keys or something similar, I'd be way more inclined to grind out and get prestige keys to unlock those camos. If you ended up introducing something like Spectrum camo into the prestige shop, I would absolutely grind out the 3, 4, 5 keys that it would take to end up getting that or something similar. If you introduce Into the Void from Black Ops 3, which is still technically Treyarch's IP on that camo, so they could absolutely do it. If you introduce that into the game, I would absolutely grind out for that. If I had the ability to take those also over into Warzone, then going a step further, I would absolutely 1000% grind out the game to get to a certain point where that was possible. So while Cold War offers many grinds, a lot of the grinds I just feel haven't progressed over the years in terms of feeling worthwhile. They just simply add more on top of what we have already. I think one thing to look at is a great example of is Black Ops 3 and that first initial introduction of Dark Matter. That was the first game to reward players with an extra camo for completing every single weapon mastery challenge. That was something new, fresh, and innovative, and a worthwhile reward to put that time into it. Sure, there were absolutely some classic grinds like your mastery challenges all the way back in, say, Modern Warfare 2, but they didn't really reward you with anything for completing all of that. They were just singular, smaller things tethered to that weapon. So while ranking up and unlocking items is cool, I also don't have a ton of reason to do half of these. So far in Season 1, I do like my Prestige emblem. I didn't really buy anything here with this. I just like the default skull with the rose and the dagger. I thought that was pretty cool, so I haven't locked any other items. The seasonal rank upwards of level 1000, kind of just dead air for me as a result, because I don't really think that I need to buy anything with the Prestige keys, and thus don't feel I need to unlock more Prestige keys. I don't have any specific camo that I'm gunning for to reach a certain rank like I did in World War II Master Prestige rewards, or any specific blueprints for specific ranks like Advanced Warfare did. I think if those were offered, that would absolutely make it more worthwhile. But right now, I think for a casual player, it gives you something to go for if you are somebody that may be a little bit more meticulous in how they approach the game and more driven by completing everything, but I think that these could be better. So that's where I'm at here at this. Just wanted to talk a little bit about the grind-worthy items within Black Ops Cold War here this year and give a little bit of my thoughts and perspective on it. So hopefully you enjoyed the video. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Agree, disagree, have anything you'd like to add, whatever it is, feel free to let me know. But hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure you drop a like down below. And of course, if you are new to the channel, make sure you guys subscribe. You don't miss a single thing regarding all things Cold War, Warzone, and anything COD related. So if any of that interests you, hit the subscribe button. If you guys also want to follow me over on Twitter and Instagram, those are the best places to get connected outside of YouTube. I live on both those. If you guys want to strike a conversation, ask me a question, whatever it may be, that link is down there in the description below. That said, thanks so much for watching. My name is Espresso. I'll see you guys later. Take care and peace.